For our highest common factor question, okay, we have to use 3 steps. This is actually for method 1 using the index notation. So the very first thing to do is you have to do your prime factorization for each of the number. So in this case, they ask you to find the HCF of 252 and 360. So I'm going to do step 1 first for one of the numbers. So let's start with 252. So how this works is you just need to divide by your prime factorizations or prime numbers. So you start with 2 and carry on dividing until you can't divide them anymore. So this is what you do. So after you've done your prime factorization, that is step 1, you'll do your step 2, which is writing it in your index notation. So 252 equals to 2 squared times 3 squared times 7. So these are actually step 1 and step 2. You repeat the same step for 360 degrees, for 360. Okay, so you have 360 equals to 2 cubed, 3 squared, and 5. So this is actually step 1 and step 2, right? So what you see on top here, this part is step 1, this part is step 2. So now we're going to do step 3, which is the comparing. Now when you do comparing, it's very important how you write. So if they're common terms, so in this case you have 2 are common bases, 3 and 3 are common bases, so we write them properly. So this is how we're going to write out the third step. Alright, so you have to write it in this manner. So what we'll be doing is we are actually going to be comparing. So how do you basically compare? So just box out all the individual bases. So these are all the bases involved in this question. Alright, so like what we said, we pick the smallest index of the common base only. So if there are only two numbers, 252 and 360, both numbers must have the same basis. So in this case, 2's are the common bases you have for both numbers, and 3's are the common bases you have for both numbers. So you would not use your 5 because it only has one number has a 5 and only one number contains a 7. So once you have identified the common bases, now you start picking the smallest index out of the 2. So in this scenario, you got 2 squared and 2 cubed, right? So you realize that 2 squared is the smallest one, so your answer would be 2 squared. Now for your 3 squared, both have the same thing, so you just write 3 squared. Alright, so the other two you don't have to do anything because they do not have a common base. So this is actually your answer. So all you have to do now is key in the calculator and get your answer. And you get your answer as 36.